I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 235, Art, that is on page 82, while doing leg injury prevention training. And if you participate in the leg injury prevention training, that is at your own risk. During the Middle Ages, most art had a religious theme, particularly wall paintings in churches and illustrations in religious books. I wanted to say two things to it. First, I said we had basically nothing to such a rich culture as the British is to the culture of them, and we were already asking to a culture, and now we're giving more. And the second thing is, so again, don't judge a book by its cover or its first pages. The second thing is that I said that it's not that hard for me to remember the musical names. We will go through them. I don't know them all yet, because it's possible to know at what time they are playing. And to that one title here, Land of Hope and Glory. Now I'm saying that at the end. People during the medieval ages were not talking about glory, about something earthly. If they were talking about glory, they were talking about something heavenly, something Christian themed, the paradise or something. Because of pride being not to be displayed that much and so on. So they would not use words like glory or so for something on earth. So this is another theme which can be found, with which it is pretty easy to know from when a play is just by the title. A part of language changing and new words and something like that. Just from that, there's a lot possible just for that. Because we just have it here, that during the Middle Ages, most art had a religious theme. I don't think anyone would use the word glorious for something on earth during the Middle Ages. Maybe there's an exception, but... And particular wall paintings in churches, illustrations in religious books, many things were based on religious themes. But I wanted to say it so that one thing, it is also possible that if yes, the title of, no, I'm saying what we were talking about. So Sir Edward Elgar wrote, for example, Pomp and Circumstance Marches, and the march number 1 is well known, and its title is Land of Hope and Glory. It is also possible that here is spoken of something heavenly. So Land of Hope and Glory does not refer to Britain, but to the paradise. Maybe it's intentionally. I don't know if he saw anything about it. So it's possible that now here where glory is used, it is used for the paradise in the Christian religion. But I think because it's written around 1900 that it is about Britain, also with marches. Why should someone write a pomp and circumstance march and then start of Land of Hope and Glory? Maybe. But I'm publicly learning. I cannot just know something without explaining why or what or how I come to that conclusion. So I'm pretty sure that it is Britain is meant, just because in the 20th century, if someone was talking about hope and glory, they mean the country. And if it would be from the medieval times, it wouldn't have the title, it would be differently. They would not use hope. It is not the land of hope, it is hope for that land. And that land gives hope, but it's not. I am not unfamiliar with the expression to the paradise, land of hope. It is the land hoped for. Not like that. It's a very distinct distinction, and it's possible that you're misunderstood. So Land of Hope and Glory, I'm pretty sure that it refers to Britain, and not the paradise. So during the Middle Ages, most art had a religious theme, particularly wall paintings in churches and illustrations in religious books. So if someone was doing a painting or something like that, or an illustration, they are oftentimes religious themed. But maybe I shouldn't talk so much, we don't have that much time. But that has maybe something to do also with the printing press and so on, that other books were printed and so on. Much of this was lost after the Protestant Reformation, but wealthy families began to collect other paintings and sculptures. So most of the things done in wall paintings in churches and illustrations in religious books and so on got lost. But there were people beginning to collect paintings and sculptures. Many of the painters working in Britain in the 16th and 17th centuries were from abroad. For example, Hans Holbein and Sir Anthony van Dyck. So there were people who were professionally making paintings, and some of them were in Britain, and some of the people doing paintings in Britain were not from Britain. For example, Hans Holbein or Sir Anthony van Dyck. British artists, particularly those painting portraits and landscapes, became well known from the 18th century onwards. So there are some British artists, in particular those painting portraits and landscapes, a portrait of a person, like a pass photo and the passport. And but the portrait is more majestic, and the passport space should be completely without anything. That's why we're saying don't smile. They are not smiling on portraits most of the times, but they are presented in a presentable way. Portraits and landscapes became well known from the 18th century onwards. So British artists are well known who made, for example, portraits and landscapes from the 18th century, 19th century, and 20th century. Now we're doing some next injury prevention training. If you participate in it, that is at your own risk. We're starting with a chunk igniter. We're breathing in and going down. And again, out. In. And out. And again, in. And out. And breathe in and close the legs. And out. And now we're bringing one leg up with a flexed foot, and we're swinging it to the side, and in front, to the side, and in front. And side. And now we're changing the leg to the side. The foot is flexed and the toes upon your wall is in front outside. And a few last ones. And now the second exercise. The foot is in the air, the foot is flexed, and bring the leg front, back, front, and back. We're doing that quite fast. And with the other foot in the air, the foot is flexed. And before we go on with the exercises, just back to one thing. We had here that Sir Francis Chichester sailed single-handed around the passing of, we wanted to look where it is, the Cape of Good Hope and Cape Horn. So for example, the south of Africa was called, I don't know if it's still called Cape of Good Hope in English, but it was called Cape of Good Hope. Because the people, I don't know the reason, because the people either had hope that in the land, there were some people settling where we had with the Boers, the Dutch settlers were going there. They are a bit more north, I think, but I think that it all has to do with the Cape of Good Hope. And maybe it has something to do with sailing. I heard something that way also, that from where the wind were changing or something like that. So here, the south of Africa has the name, or had the name Cape of Good Hope. So people have hope on that land. I'm not going to talk anymore to the other thing, but maybe that helps a little bit to understand that there is a very distinct distinction. It's a very distinct distinction, but I still think that most people will misunderstand here. And the next exercise, we're doing what? We're bringing one leg up in the right angle of the leg, flexed foot, even like hips, tall up at the back. We're doing mostly no legs, leg and reversion. We're breathing in and out of the leg to the outside, and we're breathing in. And again, out, back into the middle, and control down. We're not going to do anything new anymore. So if you're here for more for arts part 2, then go to the next part. Breathe in, leg up, out, the leg to the side, and again in, and out, leg back into the middle, and control down. I have an idea why. Because paradise and Christian themed and Christianity is not the possibility of something good, it's for sure. So there is no reason for doubt or hope. People have hope in it, and the land gives them hope. But it is for sure. Maybe it's something like that. It's a very distinct distinction. I can't formulate it completely, but here's another idea what I might mean to make it less likely to be misunderstood too gravely. And breathing in, and out of the leg back into the middle, and control down. And the leg again up, breathe in. We have changed the other leg. Breathe out to the side. Breathe again in. And out leg back into the middle. And control down. Now one leg again up. Riding with the leg, flex foot in, let him start with the back. And we're pressing carefully against it. And we're having a little bend in the elbow. And we're changing the leg up, riding over the leg, flex foot in, hips out the back. We're pressing a bit against the inside of the knee and we're having a little bend in the elbow. And next exercise, leg up, same setup, and over knee presses up to the side, up to the side. Riding over the leg, flex foot, even aligned hips, taller back, and the knee presses up and to the side, up to the side. And with the other leg, same setup, riding over the leg, flex foot, even aligned hips, taller back, and the knee presses up to the side, up to the side. Next exercise, one hand on tummy, one on lower back, and we're lifting one leg up, the leg is straight, and we're having a flexed foot. If the quad muscles cramp or whatever, and bring it up and point the foot. And try to bring it higher. Control with the hands, but you have a neutral position in the spine. Long leg, flexed foot. Try to lift the leg higher. And we're bringing it up and we're pointing the foot. And the other leg up. We're having one hand on tummy and one on lower back. And we're trying to bring the leg higher. Over to the outside. Be straight. Straight up with the foot. Flex foot. Try to bring the leg higher. Control the hands. You don't fall back. Try to bring the leg higher. And bring it up and point the foot. And the next exercise, we don't have proper time. The toes are pointing to the outside, the other legs with the heel on the ground, and lifting it off the ground and placing it again on the ground. Let's just repeat what we get. During the Middle Ages, most art had a religious theme, particularly wall paintings in churches and illustrations in religious books. Much of this was lost after the Protestant Reformation, but wealthy families began to collect other paintings and sculptures. And the other leg. Many of the painters working in Britain in the 16th and 17th centuries were from abroad, for example, Hans Holbein and Sir Anthony van Dyck. British artists, particularly those painting portraits and landscapes, became well known from the 18th century onwards. This was a bit short, but we're having another exercise, 3 stages. First stage is just up and down and be a bit higher with the hips so you don't trip onto the ground. The second one is one leg up and you bring it out and back and again in and out. And the third one is width. You will have a long leg, flexed foot, and the upper part of our body goes down in a straight line, and the back leg goes also up in a straight line. And the standing leg is tall to bring the pressure onto the biceps femoris muscle. And try not to fall in, in the abdomen. And we are changing. Foot is flexed. Try to be tall enough for standing there. Bring the pressure onto the biceps femoris muscle. And the other part of the body goes down in a straight line. And try not to fall in the abdomen. and a bit shorter today because we're having a last exercise. We're breathing in, come down, in, out, out, and we're closing the legs, and out. So, this was the leg and intervention training. I thank you very much, and until next time.